Now just settle down, settle down. Don't let the guy carry you too fast.
Okay, earlier this year, I wrote an article looking at the greatest trainers in boxing history. In this video, I'm going to go over one of the names I wrote about in that article, and his name is George Benton. If you haven't heard of George Benton, no doubt you've heard of something he mastered, which was the Philly shell defense. Benton was, of course, one of the first masters of the Philly shell defense. Okay, so I'm not going to look at Benton's career as a fighter, because I actually wrote about Benton in my book, Forgotten Legends of the Ring. But in short, as a fighter, he was one of the best middleweights of the 1960s. For a time, he was #1 middleweight, but he was denied his rightful shot at the title, despite beating men who would go on to become world champions, such as Joey Giardello. Okay, so after Benton retired as a boxer due to a gunshot wound, in fact, he became a trainer studying under the great Eddie Futch. Eddie Futch also in the article. So Benton was in the corner for Joe Frazier, also in the corner of Leon Spinks, when Spinks went on to upset the odds and beat Muhammad Ali several years later. Other fighters Benton trained include another man in my book, Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, and the real deal, Evander Holyfield, as well as one of the fastest hands I've ever seen, Mildred Taylor. His masterpiece, of course, though, was a man by the name of Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Now, Pernell Whitaker was the #1 fighter in the world in the 1990s, the early 90s, multiple weight world champion. He was a great southpaw, a great defensive master, of course. I think you can attribute that to Benton, a great counterpuncher, and just like George Benton, he had a very high ring IQ. Benton was nicknamed the Professor for his understanding of the game. As a fighter, Benton was very driven to attention to detail. Benton would study all facets of the game, going so far as looking at twitches of the muscle or the shoulder to foretell a punch. As he would say, he had eyes in the back of his head, and he ducked punches in his dreams. Benton was a multiple winner of the Trainer of the Year award, and he was a rare breed in which he was a great fighter and a great trainer. He would, of course, end up as a Hall of Fame trainer. So that's George Benton. If you haven't heard of him, I suggest you have a look at YouTube for some of his videos on how good he was at that Philly shell defense. In the next video series, I'll have a look at another of those trainers. But one of the things that made George Benton so great, in my opinion, was he never forced a fighting style upon his fighter. He said you fight your personality. So he would mould the style of fighting dependent on the fighter's personality. So George Benton really understood the game both as a fighter and a trainer, one of the greatest trainers I've ever seen. So have a read of the article. I'll leave the link and the link below, or watch this on Instagram, it's in the profile bio. So George Benton, one of the greatest trainers I've ever seen. And next video I'll have a look at one of the other names I wrote about in the article.